I'm a big fan of repetition. So I'll say again, I don't think we're budgeting enough for national defense. After delaying the inevitable for some time, the Air Force is now deep into modernizing two of the three legs of the nuclear triad. You're buying sixth-generation fighter aircraft. You're replacing an aging tanker fleet, which is must-pay bill if we want to keep projecting power globally. As I understand it, you're shelving a new early warning command and control aircraft, the E-7, in the hope that a space-based replacement will be ready in time, because you literally can't afford to do both on a shoestring budget. The Air Force also needs better, longer range munitions, and a lot more of them. After all, quantity has a quality of its own. The massive ordnance penetrator seems to have worked pretty well. I suspect you'd like a few more of them in inventory, but they aren't cheap and they aren't in the budget request. Space is important, and this subcommittee has supported efforts to build space domain awareness and control capabilities. But getting to space and operating there, certainly not cheap either. Reconciliation is said to make a down payment on Golden Dome investments, but the longer-term costs may run hundreds of billions of dollars. And don't get me started on operations and maintenance costs. Finally, we must not skimp on recruiting, training, and retaining capable airmen and guardians. So I do have a question after all of that. Can the Air Force and Space Force maintain American military superiority without substantial, sustained increases in annual defense spending?
Senator, Mr. Chairman, I think when I came into the position, although I've been around the Air Force a long time, one of the things that surprised me was the level of modernization going on in pretty much every mission area, as you were pointing out. I think to be able to maintain that as well as maintain readiness, I hesitate to use the term, but the one budget, two bill, the total request from the Department of the Air Force perspective, we will need comparable top line going forward to do everything that we're being asked to do right now.
Senator, I would clearly agree with Secretary of the Air Force that the new missions that are being asked of the Space Force to contest the domain of space, which has become a new warfighting domain, is going to require a new level of resources. And that means we are going to need more in order to accomplish the missions that we've been given.
Mr. Chairman, I also align with the Secretary's comments. I would say that the challenge for the Air Force is quite a bit different from the Space Force in that we are also having a small and an aging force that we're still using very heavily. So it's the challenge of maintaining the readiness there as well as going on to the modernization. So the Secretary's point about whatever happens this year, if we get increased top line, to sustain that top line, to ensure we have a reliable, predictable modernization path, I think will be important.
Well, we've had the Secretary, the Army, and the Navy up here recently, and I'm still confused about reconciliation. It was supposed to be an additive to make a one-time investment in capabilities or infrastructure for which we wouldn't otherwise be making annual appropriations. And yet I see B-21 bombers, the Sentinel ICBM, and nuclear-armed cruise missiles making their way into reconciliation. The administration even split the procurement and R&D funding for B-21s between the base and reconciliation. So can you explain in layman's terms to me, because my staff cannot, it looks like a shell game. Why are you not buying these capabilities in base? How much of what is in the reconciliation will have future annual appropriations costs in 27 and beyond. What happens if reconciliation doesn't pass?
So, Senator, Mr. Chairman, we see the totality of the request as what's necessary for us to execute the programs that are spread across the two portions of the request. But yes, it's critical to get access to the resources captured in both bills, or both requests.
Mr. Chairman, in what will sound admittedly like a cop-out, but it has the benefit of being true. I don't fully understand all of the mechanisms, but I think the first principle is, as we go for the resources that we believe we need, we certainly put those up through the process. And however that those resources come to us, we certainly, as we said, I said in response to the last question, we certainly just look at however those mechanisms play out. The need for a sustained top line to be able to continue our modernization and maintain readiness is going to be key, however that happens throughout the mechanism between the Department and Congress.
And I would just double down on what General Allvin said, and that's that the total request does represent an increase in the resources that are required for us to perform those missions. And we're still sorting through how the execution details will play out and affect the request.